In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to install Xbox Development Mode app, as well as how to register and how to activate it with your Microsoft account, and then install Retroarch so you can start playing emulators on your Xbox Series S or Xbox Series X. In my case, I am using the Xbox Series S to demonstrate how to do this. So basically the first thing you want to do is go on to the store, obviously log into your account, a valid email and stuff, type in dev. We want to install dev mode activation, which is this one. I've already got it installed. So some of the steps won't show on here, but I will put some screenshots of basically what you will see when you start this application. It's only 10 megabytes and it's free, so you don't have to worry about that. There is a license fee though, so before you do any of this, you do need to commit to purchasing a dev mode license, which is roughly £14.40. You can download this as well. So once they're installed, you want to launch the app. Now, like I said, because I've already done this and I've already activated, I can't go back on here, so it skips like 3 steps. But basically, you accept the terms and conditions. You click next. It tells you need to follow a link, which is the license link, and it will link you to the store, the Microsoft Store, which should look like this. Registration payment. If you have a promo code, if you're like in a college that there's a Microsoft college or university, then you can actually get this free. But if you don't have that promo code, then you just have to pay the £14.40 and accept the terms and conditions. So once you've done that, it will then prompt you to activate your Xbox and link it to your Microsoft development account. It does say that you do need Windows 10. I'm not sure if you can activate this with an Android phone or iPhone. You should be able to do this on a Mac. It says you need to install Visual Studio 2015 Update 3 and need to have at least 5 gigabytes of storage on your computer or whatever device you're using. So you click on next, and then it gives you this link, which is the activation code. So you copy that and then you enter it onto your dashboard, which should look something like this. So enter your activation code. So once that's done, you go back on to your Xbox, and then it should just say activating. Okay, so I forgot to mention about this. You have to activate your developer mode on your retail Xbox console. Basically, you just need to add your console onto this list, your Microsoft Partner Center. So follow this link up here, and then you click on this add sign, or enter activation code, and then your Xbox information should come up here. And then that's all good. You don't need to mess around with anything else. You can revert back to your Xbox and go into the developer settings. Now, it will say that this needs to be updated, even though this is already updated. Like, I waited a while and this was still not doing anything. So if this happens, all you have to do is go back, go under your settings, which is the cog here, system console info, and then left bumper, right bumper, left trigger, right trigger. This will unlock the developer settings. Click on this, don't need to mess around with anything else. Click on developer mode, continue. So take about a minute, two to load up development mode. Okay, so once you're in the developer mode, this is what it looks like. First thing you want to do is you want to add your Xbox Live account. So add existing, type in your email and your password, and then this will register for your development mode. Obviously this will check if you've got the license, etc. And then you want to go on to, you want to press your start button. You want to go manage dev storage. Kind of want to do this now before you put any emulators or even RetroArch on here. This is normally set to about 5 gigs or less, and especially if you want to emulate bigger games like GameCube or PS2 games, then you need to set this a lot higher than what it's actually at, else it won't play or read any of the games. So I'm setting it to 75, 76. Because I've already set it to this, it doesn't prompt me with resetting all the apps. But if you do have apps already installed, then this will be deleted and this will reset itself. So make sure you set again the manage dev storage. Make sure you set this a lot higher. The higher you go, the less space you have for your Xbox. So this kind of dedicates this amount of space for the dev mode, basically. So if you still want to use your Xbox as a normal gaming device, then you kind of want to leave some space available so you can install games. In this case, we're leaving about 76 gigs for RetroArch. Right, so once you've done that, you want to go on to remote access settings and set a username and password. So when you want to remote access your Xbox, you need to do this on any web browser. So this is what you need to do to basically put apps onto your Xbox. So set your username and password, go back, and then where you see remote access, basically want to copy the address here, HTTPS, and then copy all the digits in that. So open up any web browser. I'm using Chrome, but I've heard that Chrome doesn't work for some people, so you can use a Firefox or Opera. And if you're using, an iPhone or Android, you can open up Safari, and this will work in any web browser, even a Mac. So you want to hit enter. It will prompt you for your username and password that you just created. It will tell you that it's not a secure network. In my case, I've already bypassed this, but it will tell you it's not secure, and then you want to click on proceed anyway. So here we have the Xbox device portal, and you can add or load up programs, applications to your Xbox. So because we don't have any apps ready, we need to download some. So we're going to go on to retroarch.com. I'll put a link in the description below. So you want to go on RetroArch, click on download, scroll down to Xbox. I recommend right clicking, save link as, and then download the Microsoft Visual C++ 2015 as well. Download both of them. Yeah, so the RetroArch program is about 440 megabytes, I believe. This is the latest version. So if you do need to upgrade your RetroArch, you'd have to go back on here and download the latest version. Now next we want to click on Add, choose File. Now choose your RetroArch file, click Next. It will ask you for any necessary dependencies. So that's the Microsoft Visual file. Choose File, Microsoft Visual, and then Start. This will take about a few minutes to upload. So just wait until this is done. So RetroArch is finished installing now. Click on Done. We also need to download My Files Explorer. So download this. This is basically a file explorer for your Xbox, which we'll need to transfer some of the BIOS and some of the PS2 emulator files later on. So once that's downloaded, it's not very big. Choose File again, My Files Explorer. Double click, click Next, Start. It doesn't take long to install. Click Done. We can revert back to our Xbox. As you can see, we have My Files Explorer and RetroArch here. We're going to run RetroArch quickly. So we're into RetroArch now. Everything's quite bare, but we need to go on Online Updater, update core file, core info files, update assets, update controller profiles, update cheats, update databases, update overlays, and update slang shaders. Now this will take a few minutes to install or to add everything on here and extract. So it also depends on how fast your internet is. It may take longer than a few minutes. So just wait a while until this is done. So I can't tell you where to download the ROMs. You're going to have to source that yourself, but you can find many various ROMs for different emulators on several websites out there. So I've got a Western Digital Elements 1 terabyte external hard drive, which is 2.5 inch. You can use a USB stick to put your ROMs, but depending on what you want to emulate, obviously some games are larger than others, especially PS2 games. It's better to import the PS2 games or anything around 4 gigs or larger onto the Xbox Series rather than running it off your hard drive, because you'll find that it will stutter and the game won't run very well running on a USB. It might not even read it. I mean, that will be for another tutorial, but I'm just going to show you a few games, some of the smaller ones that can run on a hard drive. My hard drive is formatted to exFAT. I believe that this will run in most formats, like NTFC will be fine. So this is my hard drive here. I also use this for my RetroPie setup, but most of my ROMs are here, as you can see. Now, some games, a lot of the older games, can run in its zip file, so you don't need to necessarily have to extract them. But some you need to extract. I think mostly with PS1 games, you need to extract all of them in order for RetroArch to be able to load the games. as well as the Dreamcast ones as well. So I'm going to plug this into my Xbox One and load off. So I'm going to plug this into my Xbox and then load some games onto RetroArch. Okay, so when you plug your USB drive in, it will ask you whether you want to use your USB drive as a media player. So you want to click that, or if you want to format it, you can also format it on your Xbox. So you want to check media device, go back into RetroArch. And then next we want to go on to drivers, go on to video. On default this usually is GL. You can change this to D3, D11. Click back. Sometimes if certain emulators don't work, then you need to just change the video format. I found that running Dreamcast games, GL was the best one to use for some reason. For PS2 games, it was D12. And we're just going to test a game quickly. So click on Load Content. And my drive is letter E. Yours might be different. But in my case, mine is E. And then go into ROMs. Let's try PlayStation game. Let's try Bloody Roar 2. And choose PC SX Rearmed for the core. Now this does take around a minute to load games, so I would be patient. Sometimes it takes a bit longer depending on how big the file size is. There we go.
Bloody Roar 2, the new.
Seems to be running PlayStation games fine with no hiccups at all.
Long the Tiger Alice.
Most of the PSX games that I've tried have worked flawlessly, pretty much.
Get ready.
So if you do get any errors with PlayStation 1 games, then it might be the ROM itself that has an issue. And well, this works with only the D-pad, so. Let's quickly just try a different game. So I press start and select to go back into the RetroArch menu, the close content. Let's just try a N64 game. No, I've not tried Mario 64, so let's try that. So it automatically chose the right core for me to use for this. I'll try Mario Kart 64 instead of Mario 64, but it actually seems to be running fine.
Mario Grand Prix. Select your player. Let's go. Select map.
Buttons are kind of not mapped out correctly. We can change that. So yeah, it's running fine. We can back out of this. So one thing I did forget to mention is that if you ever need to revert back to your normal Xbox settings or go back onto the retail mode and leave dev mode, you can press this, but make sure you unclick delete side-loaded games and apps, because if this is clicked, then all of your progress with RetroArch and whatever apps you have installed will be deleted, and this will just revert back to how you initially launched dev mode. So make sure this is unclicked before you click OK, and then your Xbox will restart and go back onto the normal mode. Sometimes when you do back out of the game, RetroArch just completely closes itself. Not to worry, you can just like enter it back into RetroArch and it's totally fine. That seems to be fine. One thing I will show you before I end this tutorial is that if you have multiple games, you can just scan directory and you can scan the whole of whatever emulator you want or whatever your ROMs are, and then it will compile a list of all your ROMs into the correct playlist and the correct core for it. Alternatively, you can manual scan and you can add your own playlist here. And then you can choose which core you want to use for that playlist. So with N64 you want to use Mupin, so Mupin 64 Plus, and then wherever your N64 games. This will take a while depending on how many games you've got. I don't know how many games I have on my hard drive, but it'll probably take about an hour to scan all the games. If it has box art, then it will scan that as well. And then it will just have a playlist, so you don't have to keep going on to load content and manually choosing a game to play. It's just an easier way to have all your games on a playlist. So that concludes the tutorial. So that's how you basically run RetroArch with your Xbox Series S or X. So any questions, then just feel free to comment on below. And I hope this tutorial has been useful. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you again on another tutorial.